Do you know what time it is? It's Prime Time, the official commissioner podcast of the Sim Madden League. Buckle up because it's gonna be lit. It's gonna be fire. Now, without further ado, here is SML legend Prime-Time 000.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of SML Prime-Time. This is the sit-down interview with the MadBomber himself. Bomber, what's going on? Welcome.
Oh, I'm excited to be here. I don't have to deal with any of the OBS stuff. That's all on your end, so I'm ready for this.
I'm stressed out. I am stressed out, man. You would not believe it. But let's go ahead. Let's get right into it. First question. We're gonna do some light pitches, some underhand tosses here. How did you create the PSN MadBomber?
So the MadBomber actually came from my job in the military was it's explosive ordnance disposal technician, which is basically the Army's bomb squad, is what you tell everybody, because that's the easiest way to explain it. So from that, obviously, MadBomber kind of came naturally.
All right. So explosive username. So I know you're a pretty big Madden fan. It seems like when did you actually start playing Madden?
The first Madden I played was probably on, I want to say it was the Sega or Sega Genesis. You had the ambulances drive out onto the field. You had the three receiver windows where you would press, I think it was A, B, or C on the Genesis. Yeah. And you just picked one of those three windows, and that was probably the first one I ever played.
Okay. So were you always a PlayStation guy, or did you go Xbox 360 to PS4, or how did that all happen?
I actually started on let's see. I started the first out of the PlayStation Xbox was PlayStation. Then I had a PlayStation 2. Then I went to Xbox for a little bit, and then the Xbox crapped out, and I bought a PlayStation 2 or 3, whatever the next one was, and then it's been that ever since. I've owned an Xbox 360. I've owned a Xbox One, but for the most part, it's been PlayStation ever since they came out with the show.
Okay. So, and you, I think you played a little bit of MUT. Maybe you were a MUT guy. You also played a little bit of franchise. Yep. Can you kind of walk me through your Madden history now? Kind of, when did you get into franchise mode and all that?
Let's see. The first franchise mode's probably played back in the 90s and 2000s offline with friends. Mostly like early to mid 90s in like high school. Had a couple of friends that we would play. My brother would be the Jets. I'd be the Browns. Had another friend would be the Giants. And we would play that. Then I played a little bit of online. How was it? Maybe 6 or 7 years ago. Same thing, but it was online, and it was a couple friends from the military that we were all different places, and we all had our favorite teams, so we'd play. And then they kind of stopped playing, so I started playing a little bit of MUT. It really drug me in when they started getting all the old Ohio State players. Yeah. You had Eddie George you could use. You had Orlando Pace, old Browns. They added Jim Brown. Yeah. But it just got to be where the money going into it was insane. The gameplay sucked. Yeah. Like, I don't like to run the same play over and over. I like the sim style of play. Mm-hmm. But if you play MUT, everybody knows you go online, you face the same three plays. So I just Googled Sim Madden League last year, and then SML pops up. Like, oh, I'll give this a shot. And I haven't really touched MUT much since then. Yeah. I'll play it occasionally. I'll just hop on when it first came out, see what it was like. But it's gotten so bad that I haven't spent nearly any money on it. How
much lifetime money do you think you put in MUT?
Oh, good God. Probably more than Graham's makes in a year. Well, now definitely, but no, it probably was over $1,000 at one point. Yeah. Just trying to keep up with the guys online. Yeah. And it just got to be so much. I was like, forget this.
So that's kind of a big thing is the MUT competition versus the SML competition. Is there? It's probably tough to compare them because it's two different styles of play. But can you walk me through, because some guys don't even play, like I don't play MUT. So what's that competition like compared to like a sim league?
So I think it's a little tougher actually in the MUT, just because they run three plays. Mm-hmm. Everybody pretty much runs three plays, and they know those, kind of like your offense. You say how you run the same core set of plays,
Yeah.
and you're good because you know where everybody's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine every game, all game, you run 3 plays.
Yeah.
You know everything where they're going to be. You could probably complete passes with your eyes closed because you know how long it takes to throw a pass.
Yeah.
So everybody runs the same offense. Everybody runs the same defense. And it's just who can run it a little bit better.
Okay.
And then occasionally you'll go in there with like a sim type style offense like I'll run.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get away with it for a little bit, but as soon as you face like the guys that know what they're doing, they just kill you.
So how were you in the leaderboards? Were you a pretty average player, or were you kind of higher up?
I was pretty much average. They have the weekend league, which was fun because you could get some free rewards out of that. You play like 25 games in a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd finish with like 18 wins, which was pretty good.
Yeah.
But one year I did qualify for the online ladder tournament for the Browns, their club championships, and I just got blown out. Like it was not good.
That's kind of fun.
That was probably when I realized I'm done with mutt.
Yeah. So you I had this actually asked by a fan in the SML. I won't name his name, but he said you were a pretty average player last year and last SML cycle. Now you kind of took the Steelers over late. They weren't a good team, and maybe I'm giving you your answer for you. But you came in late in the cycle. You weren't that great. You're solid. But now you're a top 5 player in the SML. So what's the reason for that jump, or what do you attribute to that jump?
I think for starters, you mentioned it. I took over a Steelers team when I first joined the league. When I was disappointed to find out it was the Steelers I was getting. As a Browns fan, that was just a kick in the nuts. But then I go into my depth chart, and Josh Rosen's the starting quarterback, and he's hurt for like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So basically, the whole first season, I didn't use him, which was only, I think, 4 or 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty late in the season. And then the second season, I tried some other stuff, but I didn't really ever feel comfortable with the team. Not like the Jaguars team that I have now. I feel like I built them from the beginning, so I got everything where I want it. But definitely also, first time you play guys, it's a lot different. You don't know what to expect. And as we've gone on through the seasons, I feel like there's some guys that know what they're going to do just from playing them more and more and watching some of the games on Twitch. So I think that's helped a lot.
Yeah. So now let's get a little more SML here. Let's say you're a commissioner. You have all the power in the league. What for a day? What is something you would change in the league, or what would you make different if you could make the moves yourself?
I could make some moves myself. I'd have kicked Dookie way sooner. We could start with that, but that eventually happened. I don't know. I feel like the SML runs really well. I feel like everything you do is very thought out. If I could make any changes, it would probably be something to maybe the trade rules or something along those lines to avoid Michael Thomas being a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
Travis Kelce being a free agent. I think Dan and Dookie getting the 2 top players a year after their Super Bowl runs was that hurt.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I don't think there's much I would change. I feel like it runs very smoothly.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear. So you're obviously a pretty successful member at this point. You've won a lot of games. You're the hottest player in the SML. I had you number 1 in my power rankings. Are you the best player in the Sim Madden League?
No, I don't think so. Think I can beat anybody in the league. I don't doubt that for a second. If we go into a game, I feel like I'm going to win, but I don't feel like I'm the best player. I think a lot of it is maybe I prepare a little better than other guys. I know a little bit more to expect. But just straight talent wise, I don't think I'm the best player.
And that's the thing. Like, people say that about you quite a bit. Paulie throws it out there, says you're the most prepared man in the SML. How much truth is there to that?
I don't think there's that much truth to it. Paulie said on First and Goal specifically that nobody prepares more than him. And I believe it. Just calling games with him and kind of some of the DMs, he's very well prepared.
Yeah.
I'll watch your previous game, and I may take some notes if I notice some things happening over and over in the game, because I have terrible memory, so I got to write it down. Otherwise, I'm not going to remember it. But other than that, it's not that much.
So obviously, you're dominating the competition. You do prepare a little bit, and what's kind of put you on the map is obviously you beat me quite a bit now, right? You beat me in the playoffs 3 times. What separates you, or what's the magic key to beating Prime-Time 000?
Honestly, I think it's winning early. I think I got in your head a little bit when I got off to the early run. big thing is don't make mistakes, because obviously you're going to capitalize on the mistakes. But I think beating you early and getting up, I think it was like 5-1 this
It was
cycle.
bad. It was bad.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it is in your head.
Probably.
Just like it's the same thing with Dan.
Yeah.
I'll play Dan, and like you said during the commentated game, as soon as one thing bad happens, it's, oh no, here it goes again.
Yeah.
And so I think that's probably what's going on, is you have a little bit of that going on.
Yeah.
There's no secret. You just can't make mistakes.
So I'm glad you mentioned Dan, because that segues to the fun part of the conversation. And we got to check both your ears to make sure you have no chips in them. There's a lot of talks about you and Dan He, the Bushwhackers, if you will. Are the Bushwhackers real? Are the Bushwhackers real?
I would say now they probably are. Wasn't before, when Paulie came up with the whole thing. We just talked about, you should add this to your team. You should try this. And then Paulie came up with the Bushwhackers, and now it's, well, how do we beat Paulie in Prime?
Okay. Yeah.
Now we're sharing a little bit of tips. Still not quite to the level Paulie might want everybody to believe it is, but there's definitely a little more to it than there was before he started it.
So, I am the GOAT, the commissioner, and I have intel. I have a lot of intel, and I have a gut feeling as well. Is it true that Mike FML was at one point a confidant or a henchman of the Bushwhackers?
Let me check real quick. I'm not allowed to answer that question.
Okay, so we do have a little bit of details that quite possibly Mike FML was doing some dirty work at some point. At some point.
Maybe he was. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was.
What about former SML member QB Stud? Has he been in contact with you or Dan at all?
Not really. I've talked to him a couple times. He's been in the streams. I sent him a DM one day asking him how he was. And then he threw out some tips on how to beat Dan.
Yeah.
Which clearly have not worked. So so much for that. But yeah, no, I don't talk to him too much. Every once in a while I'll check in on him when he comes in the stream, see how he's doing, but that's about it.
Okay. So is there drama then with the Bushwhackers? Like I know you guys kind of are together and you guys work together on some things, but there's also the obvious. Dan's been kind of beating you quite a bit. What do you think about that?
I think it's getting a little old being the second fiddle. I would like to get a win over him, but I wouldn't say there's tension there.
It sounds like there's tension.
He beats me
it sounds like
if he beats me every game this cycle, the rest of the way, then I'll probably maybe I won't have the choice, but I'd like to be in his division next cycle and see if I can get over that hump.
So has your opinion of Dan changed throughout this cycle?
No, not really. I mean, he's really good. He definitely prepares, and I think it's more fun to play against the guys like Dan, like you, like Paulie. There's probably one or two in the NFC, maybe. But the guys that are good, I enjoy playing those games. Even if I get beat every game against Dan, I mean, at least I'm keeping them somewhat close, and it's something to try and improve. I feel like I get kind of bored when I'm just kind of sitting there, like this season so far. It's 5 games, and it's been 5 blowouts. Yeah, I'm just ready for the playoffs to start at that point.
What do you think about Paulie? You brought it up a little bit, but Paulie kind of created the second fiddle thing, and you have lost in the AFC Championship game probably, I don't know how many times. Do you believe there's truth to it, and does it piss you off, or what's your thoughts on that?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't piss me off. It would piss me off more if it was coming from somebody that had beaten me and was on the top end looking down. But Paulie's got like 2 playoff wins. One of his losses was against me. So when Paulie says it, I don't really take much Paulie says seriously anyway, because he said he was going to come after the GOAT. Now he's riding your dick harder than Jenna Jameson. He is what he is. I mean, he always gives himself an out because I think he expects to lose. That's why I'm playing sick. Oh, I got the Dolphins. I don't know what I'm doing. I think Paulie's more bark than bite. He's probably in Rowan's category.
Mm. Wow, that's a shot.
He just doesn't really worry me. And when he says stuff, it's kind of in one ear out the other because most of the truth is actually just a fraud.
Wow, that's some serious shots. So you must not like Paulie that much.
Oh, I got no problems with Paulie. Just when he talks, it's talk.
Yeah. Okay. So is Dan, back to the Bushwhackers, final Bushwhacker question here. Is Dan as good as everyone says he is?
If you go by my games, I'd say he is as good as everybody says he is, but then he goes out and he gets beat by Colt. He's got close games against Death Wish. He's lost to Death Wish. So I think everybody is fairly similar. I think the only thing that differentiates the top from the bottom is maybe a couple plays a game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Dan is very good at not necessarily avoiding, but making sure that those plays go his way.
So it sounds like you don't think he is as good as everyone says he is. Is that what you're telling me?
I think he's definitely beatable. You just have to play a really good game to beat him.
All right, that's interesting. That's a very politically correct answer there, MadBomber. What's your thoughts on the click?
The click, I don't even really know what the click is. I mean, I saw the picture and what is it, like Graham's, Mike, and what?
Yeah,
got like 8 wins between them in the cycle. I mean, is it even really a group? I mean,
yeah, I guess so.
Not really. I don't even worry about that.
Would you consider, if you lose this cycle and don't win a Super Bowl, would you consider it a disappointment?
I would be disappointed, but I would still consider it a fairly successful cycle, especially if I continue to make the AFC Championship because, like you said, last season or last cycle, it was maybe average, slightly above average success that I had the last season and a half. So to come in and compete at least in the championship games,
yeah,
and I'll consider that a success. Now, next cycle, I expect to do a little better.
Yeah. Okay. And when will you win a Super Bowl then? Is it going to be this season?
I'm not going to bet against myself, so I'll say this season.
All right. All right.
I have no feeling pretty good. If I wait much longer, Khalil Mack's going to start to deteriorate, and some of my other guys are going to start going downhill. So I'll say this is the season.
Do I stand a chance against you regular season playoffs at all?
No. I mean, we've seen what happens. Unless you just, hug up a miracle, 6 bounces, DK Metcalf comes down with it, does a double backflip into the end zone, then no, it's probably over for you.
Yeah, I think I'm a has-been at this point.
You've got a team of full X factors on defense, but yeah, you're a has-been.
I'm just happy to be here. I'm just happy to be here at this point. NFC.
You are taking Paulie's coaching pretty well.
Yeah, I am. I'm taking it well. We're winding down here. We're around 18 minutes on the show. What's your thoughts on the NFC? I know there's a lot of talk about them not being exciting. I'm sure you think they're a little boring, but they have won. RD somehow beat Dan. Dookie did the Dookie thing. Dan beat Dan in that Super Bowl. What's your thoughts?
I think the NFC is good. I mean, I don't think there's much of a difference between the NFC and the AFC. I actually broke out the records today because I just wanted to see what actual back and forth was. And the NFC is 10 games better than the AFC in head-to-head. Now, obviously, you can attribute that to the bottom being the bottom of the AFC is bad. But I would say for the most part, they're pretty close. The AFC South, for example, we're tied with every division except the NFC West. They're the only ones that have a winning record against us. Everything else is even. Looking at their side, I would say they're more spread out as far as who can come out of the NFC on top. I think the AFC is really 4 teams. I'll throw Paulie in there because his team looks really good this season. Of those 6 teams over there on the NFC that are contenders, I think any one of them could beat somebody on the AFC any given day. Like I said, it's only 1 or 2 plays separate the top and the bottom of the league, but it's just kind of boring over there. And maybe it's because they don't do much content. The ones that do are kind of the ones that aren't as successful. You do have QP now and D Muse doing the flying high. So that's going to make the NFC a little more more exciting, a little more out in the spotlight. But you got RD. He's on the West Coast. He doesn't really do much. I've tried to get him on first and goal. Our schedules haven't really matched up. So you got the top guy in the NFC isn't really out in front of the NFC where people can see him. So I think it just makes them a little more boring. And then you got Tiny talking about his fourth best passing offense or whatever. But you're 0-5. I mean, you can talk, but it's not as exciting when it's coming from a guy that isn't going to win.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. And what's down to my final two questions here. I promised a 20-minute podcast, and we're at 20 minutes. So what's your biggest SML pet peeve?
Oh, that's an easy one. Scheduling. If I could change something in the SML, I go back to that question from before about 24 hours as SML commissioner. That is something I would change. If you haven't scheduled your game within 24 hours of advance, then it's a forced win for the other guy. Yeah. I can't stand when guys are like, I'll be available sometime Tuesday. What the hell is sometime Tuesday? I'm just supposed to sit around and wait on you? Try to give a window. Now, generally, my window working from home is available all day Tuesday. Yeah. Let me know when. But I'm literally available all day Tuesday.
Yeah.
So that's probably my pet peeve is some people's scheduling. They're not really take into consideration that other people have stuff going on too. So they'd like to have a window to schedule in, not just whenever I tell you I'm ready, that's when we're ready.
What's it like playing, and I got this question from somebody, what's it like playing in a division with Prime?
Oh, it's fun. It's fun knowing that you have, number one, the spotlight is on you. Because every time you play a game, it doesn't matter if it's October, Hova, it's the damn game of the century, emotional, all that goes into it. So it's fun. You have a little more attention on your games. Then you're in chat talking quite a bit. So the trash talk goes back and forth.
Yeah.
And then the gameplay's good. So it's fun to me. Like I had no intention of taking the Jaguars again next season, but they're definitely in my top 3 teams now.
Yeah. I hope that people know it's strictly business. Trash talk is strictly business. But I hate you. You know, you're beating me. You're winning the series. But we'll see how that plays out. You know, I'm a has-been, but maybe I can rekindle some magic and become Tom Brady on the Bucks. Anyway, the mic is yours now. We're at 22 minutes. Anything you have to say or anything you want to get off your chest, the mic is yours.
Just that, you know, this league is definitely more than I expected it would have been going into it. Like I said, I Googled Sim Madden League. Just happened to join the primer, get into here, and it's completely forget about. Like I'm talking, Mutt was almost like an addiction.
Yeah,
had to log in to play it, had to have the newest cards, and SML just completely forgot about Mutt.
Yeah,
and it's easily the most fun I've had in a Madden franchise in 30 plus years of playing. So
yeah,
I appreciate what you do here, and I'm just absolutely enjoying myself.
No, man, I appreciate that. And, you know, if it wasn't for guys like you and other guys, SML would not be what it is. Now, that said, if you remember, around the time the cycle started, you made an SML conspiracy video. In that video, you said, I don't kick people if I lose. I kick them right when I get that win. I'm just waiting for that win. If I get that win,
that is true.
You're going to be looking for another league, just so you know. So get looking. So,
I mean, the conspiracy theories did break that you were taking the Colts well before the team draft.
It did.
We put together the clues.
So, no, that's good, man.
So, I fully expect it.
No, I appreciate you, man. And thanks for doing the sit down. We tried having some fun topics. We tried grilling you. It looks like there is some tension in Bushwhacker City. I'm calling it. And Mike FML is a confidant of the Bushwhackers, it appears. I've known it all along. So that's good. That's good to know. My sources are true. Well, Bomber, once again, thanks for.
I will tell you the bush.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the Bushwhacker footprint is a little wider than you may think.
Yeah, that's what I've been told.
There's quite a few if you were to cast the net.
That's what I've been told. So you know, I've got a few names. I'm gonna call out Mike FML on this one, and you know, maybe at another time we'll call out some others. Guys, this was SML the sit down with MadBomber. Let me know if you guys want to see something similar with somebody else. I'm Prime-Time. He's Bomber. You guys have a good night.